Hi, Alison Marsden here from Gardening by Design with a quick video tip. This one looking at watering in summer, particularly bedding plants in pots. After several weeks of dry sunny weather but a biting wind, we finally got a weekend of still hot weather here in Kent. So I thought, as well as showing you a little glimpse of what's going on in my front border, I would talk today about watering, and particularly watering bedding plants like these pelargoniums I've got either side of my front door. We still have some water remaining in water butts collected from when it was so wet through most of March, so I'm going to use this. You can see they all have lids on, which is important if you're storing water, so you don't get them full of leaves dropping in and rotting and bacteria and the whole thing going very smelly. And I'm going to use it on ornamentals rather than things like lettuces that we're going to eat without cooking, just to be on the safe side. Now, watering may not seem to be very complicated, but the first thing to do, particularly with pots of bedding in summer, is to make sure that they really do need water. So we don't want to overwater and just waste. And these pelargoniums are fantastic in pots in this hot sunny position because they come from hot dry places and they're very drought tolerant. So the compost on the top looks very dry, and that always happens with the top layer, but it doesn't mean that the whole pot is dry as well. So I'm just going to pause the video and take the plant out of the decorative container. There we are, that's because I can't do that with one hand. And what you do when you're lifting it out, I could just water it in situ, but the point of lifting it out, firstly, it's to place it on this plastic tray so that I can water it and then let any excess water drain out to be tipped over onto something else before I put it back into the sort of rather more decorative pot. But also, because when I lifted it up, see if I can do this with one hand, what I'm really doing as well, oh it's pretty heavy, is actually judging the weight of the pot. You can do this with houseplants as well, because if the more the pot weighs with the plant and the compost, the more water there is, because the plastic pot, the dry compost and the plant is not very heavy. So most of the weight is from water. So if it's already still quite heavy, you don't need to add a great deal of water. This one is, I'd say, about sort of 50-50. So I am going to water it just because it's a very hot day today. Doing this in the morning before the sun really gets onto it, and just water onto the compost. So this is the same for plants in pots or on the ground. You water onto the compost. I'm not getting any water, that's probably sufficient for this one. I'm not getting any water onto the leaves of the plant, because that an ideal way, if you have a wet leaf and the sun shines, then it can scorch and burn like almost like a lens of glass. So avoid wetting the plant, because all the water is absorbed through the roots. It doesn't actually do any good watering the leaves. So I'm just going to leave this plant here, and now it's much heavier immediately, and I can see, I don't know whether you can see on the video, there is just water beginning to creep out the bottom of the pot. So that's going to soak down. The compost might reabsorb a little bit, and then in half an hour or so I'll come back, pop it back into its container to match its friend over there, and we're done. So happy gardening, and if like me you're out in the garden on what's really quite a hot day here, hat, sunscreen, plenty of water, possibly the odd cup of tea in the shade. Take care.
There's more information on my Gardening by Design website about how gardening supports well-being and how I can help you.